Well, this is going to be a continuation of my previous video about Kramer's. This is we're in a room of our house that we're not redone yet, so it's got nasty carpet and everything, so we're just going to work in here because it's rainy and cold outside. We're in North Carolina and it will not quit raining. So anyway, let me show you the Kramer's that we're going to be using. You've seen it on the last video. Kramer's Best Antique Improver. Now this is what we call the orange juice. This one, it separates, as you can see. You shake it up for a few minutes, a minute or two, and it looks like orange juice. That's what we're going to finish the sides and the metal of this furniture cart with. But for right now, first, we're going to use this Kramer's Clarifier. I found out that this is really good for cleaning. This does a really good job of cleaning. Here's a little bit of before and after. I have experimented with this board right now. This board has been split. It's the same board, but you see the difference if you put some elbow grease with it in it and use that Clarifier, how it brings up all this old paint, and you see how it's shiny and got all kinds of stuff. But if you put a little grease, a little elbow grease to that thing and really scrub on it good, you get a natural wood look. And that's dried. I did that last night just to kind of get an idea of how this stuff's going to clean up that wood. And you see a big difference in bringing that wood up. And then when this is dry, all this, me and my wife's going to work on this today and get this top redone. And then we're going to put the orange juice on it, which is really better for wood, I think. It does good for metal too, but it's really brings out the deep dark colors and the oils in that wood, and it really holds really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like. So we're going to work on this, and then like I said, we're working on also, when we get done this side, see it's got the writing on the side of this cart. Linbury, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. So, and we want the authentic finish. We want it rough. We want it to look antique and rough. We don't want to finish this off. We just want to clean the wood up to where it'll, you know, look a little bit nicer and get these stains off. And then we're going to do the wood, the metal pieces on the end and the wheels. We're going to do that with what we call the orange juice, the orange solution. And we'll get back with you once we get some progress done and show you what it looks like. All right, there's a little update. I've got about almost half of it on my end done. What we found out is that you could scrub this stuff and it does a good job with getting that old stuff off, but what's happening is you see here a line, and if I get it in the right line, you can see it kind of shiny. It's poly, like they've had something on this furniture cart years ago, and then they've sprayed, and that poly's hitting here and building up over the years or whatever they're putting on it, and it's hard to get that to where you don't get that line. If you were getting a definitive line right in here, when I would clean this would clean beautiful. And then you'd come over here, and this was built up, and it would scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub, and you couldn't get it to get that line off of there. So we had to resort to sanding. And I've got probably a 60 grit sandpaper on my little vibrating sander, and that takes out. See, your line's gone, and we sand more here and smooth this out to where. You know, and what you do then is go back over it with the Kramer's, which is what we've done here. I've not done this board yet. I've not scrubbed it. But when you get into these boards, you start scrubbing it with that Clarifier, and it brings the grain. It raises that grain up, makes it, you know, takes the dust out of the cracks and gives it a good rough look, you know, and it doesn't make it sanded look. It makes it look more, you know, antique-y. And then from here, we'll let this dry. And then we'll put that the orange, what I call the orange juice. It's the orange stuff on it. And that'll bring the darkness. That'll really make that dark pop out and look good. But right now we're working on, you see here, you know, you got a line. You see that line in there. And as you go up here, see, that's what we were dealing with right there, is you'd have a definite line when you tried to scrub it. And you couldn't get it out. You'd scrub, 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 scrub. And you could tell there was one side dark, one side was light. So now we're working on sanding it, getting it all even, and I like that. That's the way we wanted it to look, rusticy like that. You know, it has some mixed in. You know, here we don't want it to be perfect. I don't want it sanded and slick perfect. I want it to be rustic. So that Kramer's does work good for getting that. And what happens when you also a little bit of a trick And you can see it a little bit here. See this right here where I didn't sand? I don't want all that out of there because I'm going to take and sand all the color out of the grain. So what I do is I let that set, and then when it dries, then you see it gets a little bit chalky looking, and you can see that varnishy stuff on there. So that's when you go back, and I'll show you a little bit. Hold on, let me get my stuff here. I just take and got me a little bit of that Clarifier, whatever that stuff is, the clear moonshine looking stuff. Dip my steel, a little stainless steel brush that I bought from the hardware store, and then I could go back in. It's a little vibrating. Oh, sorry for the shaky camera, but you can get down in there and get that broke up, and it'll start eating that up and dissolving that stuff. And you've got to work on that. It might take a couple of times where you can get down in there. It seems like what you do is you let it set on there and come back in about 5-10 minutes. I'll wipe it off now. I don't leave it sitting on there. But once you've got it in there, now that stuff's going to be working and eating and kind of dissolving that stuff and making it softer. And then the next time you come over it, it scrapes off a whole lot easier. So anyway, that's what we're working on now. We'll get back with you as we progress. Alright guys, we have got it sanded, and we've run we've scrubbed it with that Clarifier all over. What that really does is, I'll be honest with you, I think you could probably do what we did and then go over it with the regular orange looking stuff, and that would probably be good enough. But for me, I wanted to take and get all of the glue and all of the varnish and everything I could out of it, and take that the clear stuff. It'll just kind of, it'll clean up little places in it that maybe you didn't get sanded off, that has some old varnish and poly. But it also brings the grain up. That's what I want. I wanted that grain to pop. I wanted that the contrast. I loved how this looks antique now. I did not change any. I mean, I sanded just what I had to sand, but I think that this right here is ready. It's dry. It's been scrubbed with. Oh, I was going to show you the brushes. I didn't want you to be. Hold on, let me get down here. This is what I've got at our local Ace Hardware. They're just a little 3-pack of stainless steel. Let me show you. Little stainless steel brush. I had brass brushes, and they're fine, but they're too soft. They wore out real quick. They wear out on you and bend and stuff. These are stainless steel, and we've scrubbed the heck out of this thing with these. When we just used one, I wore one out on that little piece of right here on the end. I wore one out of brass. So these stainless steel, and it says stiff. If you look right here, it says stiff bristle. Stiff bristle, stainless steel. But these come in a 3-pack, and they work really good. I was pleased with them. That's what we do. Is, like I said, we just go in there and scrub. And you might see, I was looking to see around in some of this. I didn't really see because we sanded pretty good, but you could see. Don't know if you could tell it. You can't really tell it on this video, but you can see some of this has kind of got a little bit of a gray, and it looks kind of chalky a little bit at times. We could still probably scrub that if we wanted to and get some more of that varnishy stuff that's on there off. But I like it. It gives a good contrast, so I won't be scrubbing it anymore. But now what I think we'll do next is to put on the orange colored. Hold on, let me get it. Again, this stuff is Kramer's Best Antique Improver. Now this stuff, you can't, there we go. See how it separates? You got to really shake this stuff up for a minute or two. And the more you shake it, and when you get done with it, it looks like orange juice. A real thick orange juice. But it smells similar to the Clarifier. But this gives it the oils, it turns it to dark. So I was going to show you a picture of the whole thing before we put it on there. Now what we're going to do first, since we only got that one bottle, is we're going to do the top. Go ahead and do the whole top and the edges, the little board edges. Finish that, make sure, see what we got left of this. And then we're going to take and do the metal pieces and the wheels and the sideboards. The sideboards have that writing on them, which is really cool. That's why I didn't use a clarifier on the sideboards, because I was afraid that stuff might take that writing off. Because it's got a, like I said, it's pretty stout stuff, and it'll take paint and varnish. It'll dissolve it a little bit. So we wanted to really be careful with that. We didn't want to lose that. So now I think what we're going to do is apply the orange. I call it orange juice. That's what I've been calling it. Is we're going to apply that with like a little foam brush, because we really don't have. Some people you can use this and brush it in with these brushes into certain woods and really get it in there and do a good job, and that's fine, but we've already done all that with the clarifier. So what I need to do now, I think, is just put this on, apply this. So I'm going to apply that with a little sponge brush, and then let it dry. It'll get dark, which is what I want anyway, but we're going to let that put on, let it dry, and then see what kind of finish it looks like. So anyway, that's the project so far. We'll get back with you in just a bit. All right, now we have put the orange juice, as we call it, on the top. But we're not going to show that until it's dry. It has to soak in and dry. We just brushed it on. We tried to do it with sponge brushes. That does not work. Don't try that. Since we did the scrubbing with the clarifier, we went ahead and just brushed it on with a paintbrush, and then wiped off the excess when we were done on the top. So that's done. Now we're going to go to the sides. We're not going to do a lot of cleaning as far as we want to keep this, preserve this. I'm afraid if we do any cleaning, hard cleaning, we're going to tear our letters off. So we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do here is I went through with a brush and a vacuum cleaner and got everything cleaned up and got everything off the wheels, the dirt and dust and stuff. And we're going to make sure all this is good and clean with a little brush. And then we'll go back. All we're going to do here is put the orange juice solution, I call it, on with the little stainless steel brushes that we got. So I think that's going to work pretty good. We'll let you know later on that. We've got about half of a bottle left of the orange solution, the regular stuff. I call it the orange juice. Anyway, we've got about half a bottle left after we did the top. So hopefully this will be enough to get the outside with the ironworks and everything and clean it up. So we'll get back with you soon on that and show you what's going on, how this looks. All right, here is the end after we have scrubbed it and brushed it. Well, a little bit of a note. That lettering, don't try to scrub that, even with the orange stuff. Don't try to scrub that with the brush. I just about took the C off. It's North Carolina, and I didn't even scrub it hard. So we scrubbed around it with the brush, and then brushed over top of it with a steel brush. We scrubbed around it, and then we just had a regular paintbrush that we rubbed over top, and it was real light with the letters. We didn't want to mess those up, so you can see it. Looks good. The metal all come out real good, and like it's got the oil back in it. It come out good and black. So anyway, we're going to turn it over and do the other side, and then we'll let you see the top here in a minute. Well, there is the finished top. That is with the orange juice, as we call it, put on there. It's been drying for, well, at least an hour, hour and a half. It's been drying, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any lighter, which is fine. That's what we wanted. But we went ahead while the top was drying. We flipped it on its side and did the underneath the edges all around, all the metal. And I'll show you a picture here in a minute of those when I get it back in the living room. We're in our bedroom, and I'll tell you a little bit of a secret too. We're in a bedroom of ours that's unfinished and just an old bedroom that we've not redone. And we've got a fan in the window, and because it stinks. I mean, it's turpentine smelling, and you don't want this all throughout your house. So we just put it in our closed bedroom with a fan blowing out, and we've been going in and out of our room here working on this thing. So if we dropped anything on the carpet, we're getting ready to put new laminate flooring down. So we weren't worried about messing up anything. It wasn't a big deal. But anyway, make sure you got a fan. You make sure you're in a ventilated area, because it is stinky as far as the chemically smelling. It's not chemicals. They say it's natural, but it smells turpentine. But this is awesome. I think it looks really cool. I don't know if I can put a poly. I'm going to find out if I can spray a satin poly on it. I don't want it shiny. I wanted it satin. I wanted it, matte looking finish. So we're going to leave it as is, color wise and finish wise. But I might email the guy from Kramer's and ask him. Now, as far as what we use, like I said, this was the Kramer's Best Antique Improver. This is an 8-ounce bottle. It took every bit of that, the orange stuff, to coat this and then all the way around and the metal and everything. And then we had the kit that we bought off Amazon came with the Clarifier too. So that's the clear stuff. It's just a little bit left of that. There's not much of that left at all. And that really cleans up stuff. Gets that varnish off, eats that varnish away, cleans up stuff real good. We used pretty much a whole bottle of that. So, and I think it was like $35 for the whole kit from Amazon. So you're going to use a whole, something this size, you're going to use both bottles. So just be aware of that. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. We're going to post some pictures of it in the living room and let you see what it looks like in real situation. Appreciate you. Now listen, this is the first time we've ever used this stuff. I'm not endorsing as far as, they don't sponsor my channel by any means. I don't have anybody sponsoring the channel. And they did not pay me. I bought this on my own. But I just want to let you know what kind of stuff, if you're looking to redo some stuff, and maybe relics especially, it might be a really cool product for restoring relics. So anyway, I appreciate you watching, and hope you enjoyed it. If you did, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys, for watching.